Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So in the previous episode, I did discuss about some of the use cases for the data cloud, right? Some basic use cases. Obviously, the data cloud has lots of use case depending upon the business problem, right? You're trying to solve. Um, and and my apologies, my use cases were quite limited, but that will at least give you a head start to understand, some of the ways you can use Data Cloud. Now, I wanted to talk about in briefly today, about how the Data Cloud works, right? Something that happens behind the scene, not in detail, but just an overview because it's very important to understand, right? There's a lot of terminologies have been thrown around when it comes to Data Cloud. So this is obviously, I love to teach from Trailhead. I don't believe in making slides, right? That's just um, the BS thing, right? People do to present PowerPoint. I don't do that. Sorry. Yeah. So when you look at Data Cloud, right? So this is a diagram which Salesforce provided. Um, on the left, you can see, right, the Data Cloud, a tech stack, or like a cloud, right, which is built by Salesforce, capability to accept different data, right? And Data Cloud has a lot of connectors. You have connectors to your Snowflake, you have connectors to your AWS, you have connectors to other platform, to Google, right, to bring the data in. Now, you could use Excel to bring the data in. You could use all the other unstructured data, right? At the same time, you could also, use the structured data from your MuleSoft API. Could be from your, um, like I said, from an Excel, or it could be from other data sources like CDP, like Snowflake. Could be data warehouse like Teradata you could use, or could be from other, Oracle data warehouse. You could bring the data from any source, right? Now, once the data, that structured and unstructured data, you bring into Data Cloud, right? As you can see from the screen, you have a batch and stream and the zero copy. So now the zero copy is interesting, right? Because let's say you have a data in CDP, you don't want it to copy the data to the data cloud. You can use the concept of the zero copy, right? Which is a pretty commonly term which is used these days. Snowflake uses that term quite a lot. And just for a context, right? If you have Oracle data warehouse, you don't want it to bring, copy data. You can use the concept of the zero copy, right? Um, so once the data, let's say, once you decides to take the data to the data cloud, let's the structured and unstructured data. Obviously, it's very important the transformation piece, right? Because the transformation piece, because the data you need to convert into the form that's useful, right? Because that's the one of the if you imagine the role of a data scientist, right? What does the data scientist do? Data scientist obviously works with data, massage the data, use the right algorithms behind the scene, and to make the sense out of data. I know that you might say, look, that data scientists do way more than that, but just to give you, I simplified to the language people who are not data scientists, can understand, right? The main role, they work with the data, right? And to take it, the data to business, to make sense out of the data so the business can take decisions from based on data, right? Now, the transformation is very important because you need to make sure you bring the data to the form that's useful, right? Because you could have, for instance, Marketing Cloud uses subscriber concept, Sales Cloud, Sales Cloud uses contact. So if you have to, bring all those stuff together, you just need to, and also you will have, some of the data which is not in the form of like um, some, let's say, just let's take a step back, right? Let's say I have data which contains country codes, right? And somewhere it might say 1, 2, 3, 4 based on whatever pick list values. Some say NZ, AU, right? RO, for instance, for Romania, um, for US, for United States, NZ, New Zealand, AU, Australia. Um, Yeah, FL Finland. I don't know. I'm just saying, just making this up, right? Now, some might say one for NZ, two for AU based on different Excel they have. So if you wanted to bring this data and make sense out of it, you need to transform into the form which is meaningful, right? So let's say you wanted to transform one equals NZ. So the Excel which has one column, it will replace with NZ. So transformation. Now, the governance is very important, right? Obviously, let's say you bring the data in, you need to share the data, but not every data, right? So, for instance, you have a 1 million record. After 1 million records, say a banking information, right? Or healthcare data. So certain healthcare data you will not be sharing with everybody. Like say for instance, patients' information could only be shared with nurses and doctors. It should not be shared with admins, right? So what do you normally do? So that's where the governance comes in picture. You put the data in the data space, and then you use the permission sets and whatnot to make sure you share the data with the right people, right, or right group. So that's why the governance is very important. And data cloud makes sure, you know, when you talk about governance, that's taken care because usually what happens, right? If you have a security team in your company, it will raise a red flag if you say, "Hey, look, we're bringing the data and we're going to share it with the people." Right? There was a hang on a second. What about these people are not authorized to view the data? How are you making sure these people are not getting the access? So that's where the governance comes in the picture, right? Data space comes in the picture. The permission sets comes in the picture. Then you need to harmonize the data, right? Sorry, I kind of jumped ahead and said, oh, yes, in the marketing cloud, you have subscribers, you have, you know, the contact, sales cloud, you have contact. Now, you must be wondering why I'm talking about that, right? So let's say if your business requirement is to achieve a unique customer experience, means like I'm Vikas Cohen. So I'll be contacting, let's say, a call center to talk about claim. I'll be contacting, say, and let's say they are maintaining their system in, you know, a separate system like SAP. And Vikas Cohen will be contacting, you know, XYZ company for something else. So let's say that's been maintaining in Sales Cloud. Because Cohen, I'll be contacting for something else, right? They will be maintaining in different systems, right? So let's say I'll be a subscriber, let's say in Marketing Cloud, and I'll be a contact, let's say um, in Sales Cloud, and I'll be say a customer in SAP. So how do you unify those information, right? And let's say my email address for maintaining SAP will be different. My email, phone number maintained, let's say, in Sales Cloud will be different. So how do you unify that? Excuse me. How can you harmonize that experience, right? So that's where you use harmonization concept, right? And you apply, you know, so where harmonization and unity, you bring it together, right? So you unify the record, you harmonize it, and you unify the record to give that um, experience to the user, right? So that when Vikas Cohen is a Vikas Cohen, it doesn't matter. I contacted, my information is in SAP, or my information in Sales Cloud, or my information in CRM Dynamics, or my information is HubSpot, or whatever, right? I won't change as a person, right? It's the same person. So just because my data point is different in different systems, it does not mean I'm a different person, right? So if a team wants to identify a customer journey, then they have to have a profile of me as a unified uh, page where they can see everything from one location, right? So that's why the unity comes in the picture. The identity resolution is important, right? Because you need to resolve a customer identity, and you have to get all the data, do it right, and make it resolve, right? And now, because if you don't, then you will have a segregated data, and the segregated data is very difficult for any business to have an insight or run analytics on, right? Because if your data is scattered all over, if the information is not correct, then you cannot achieve the dream of a unified customer experience. If you don't do that, then obviously you cannot build efficient AI models. You cannot analyze, the customer journey, and you cannot even build the proper segments, right? You have waterfall segment and all other kind of segments, right, which you can leverage. And once you have a unified, this segments, you can export it to be used somewhere else. You can also, like the models you can build from this unified data, you can use that, leverage that somewhere else. You can create your own. You can bring your own model. Like you can connect to the Google Vortex AI. You can use Amazon SageMaker. You can use your own custom. You can connect to the, or you can do using Model Builder, right? And then you can export this stuff, right? And you can take an action based on the data. So this is in a nutshell, right? How the data cloud, is data cloud does the stuff behind the scene. And as you can see, the data is grounded. With the data is grounded, you can use this data with Agentforce, right? So that's where Agentforce is handy. Now, I understand that it may be a bit too much if you are new to Data Cloud, but this is how it happens behind the scene. And I will cover each and every section needs to, and I will walk you through what it means, right? How to bring the data, how to unify data, all kind of good stuff, right? It's important, but I just wanted to, you must be saying, right, I talk too much about this theory. Yes, but it's important to understand, right? Because if let's accept the fact, right? You're talking to a stakeholder who's a business person. He or she doesn't care how you click the button there, how you go from here. He does not give a damn about it, right? So what that person cares, right? Look, this is a business requirement I have. Can you use Data Cloud to achieve the right outcome, right? And he might be interested in this slide. Look, if that person is a little bit more tech savvy, to say, look, this is what we're doing, and the securities will be more interested in the governance side of things. And if you have a BI, let's say, analytics team, they'll be more interested into analytics, or if you have AI team, they'll be more interested, right? So different people will have different perspective based on the area they're interested into. So if you tell them this, you can bring people together and achieve a common objective, right? So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover, though. My apologies if it's been more theoretical, and I do wanted to do hands-on. Like I said, right? Obviously, this is a hands-on course, but I just also wanted to make sure that you're actually understanding why we actually doing data, all right? So what are some of the important stuff you need to know? So that being said, hope you guys have an amazing Saturday. Adios.